Hey everybody. I've been working on trying to get these values configurable. It looks like bevel enabled is next. I thought I would do a couple other quick things. One is to sort of do a shout out to India again. They're the only ones showing up right now on my list for the last 7 days. About 14% of the people in the last 7 days have been from India. And then, like in the last 28 days, it was 9% with almost 1% coming from Madagascar. And then in the last 90 days, uh, United States was up to 3.2 with Madagascar at zero point 0.3. So they seem to be growing. My number of views are definitely going up, and then my percentage is mostly coming from India and Madagascar, which is pretty cool and interesting. And I definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Another interesting thing was I don't feel as comfortable showing my list of subscribers. I could see about half the subscribers. I have 69 subscribers. So that means that, and about half of them have whether they can be seen or not. And I did see a person who I greatly admire show up in that subscriber list. And I'm not going to call him out, but I genuinely appreciate you. I hope you know who you are. And it's just an honor that you're subscribing to my channel. I genuinely appreciate it. Now, so I know the other yesterday at the end of the video, I noticed, oh man, I can do something that I've been wanting to do a long time, and that's sort of have an animation going down a tunnel, and I thought that would be really cool. And so basically, what I did was make an O, the letter O, and then I gave it a big height, which I don't know why it's called height. I think it should be called depth, but it's called height. And then sort of angled the camera up so that it was centered up in it, and now it's going down. And so this is it, the camera going down into an O that is a normal material. I actually do have three lights in here, like an orange, a green, and a white light, sort of in honor of India. And I have that, but you can't see it because normal materials do not show that. And then, so if I go to a basic, uh, it's just a white, and it doesn't care about light either. But now if I change over to a Fong, now you see like the colors. Now these are like the colors of the Indian flag, that I got from this thing. Um, but yeah, they don't look right. And I have noticed that about in ThreeJS that the colors don't seem to match up the way they would like on a web page. I don't really understand what that's all about. It will be very interesting to explore that at some point in time. Um, but I guess that's enough of that. So basically, I want bevel enabled to be a boolean, and in the mesh list, I would like it to show up probably right over bevel segment, or probably the very first bevel thing, and or even above curved segments. Um, and it should be a boolean, so it should be like a checkbox like these guys over here. Speaking of that, so there's upgrading and staying upgraded, and I have upgraded this. But then yesterday I had saw a video about Angular material and how they have version 2 and version 3, and how you can. So I upgraded. Like if you look at my packages, uh, JSON, I have the latest Angular material. Let's see, Control F material. I have 1801. Now, what I don't know is this in fact Angular 3, uh, or Material 3 version 3, or is this like some sort of backwards compatible version 2? Because if I somehow have version 3 version 2 and it's just backwards compatible, I really want to upgrade that to version 3. And I don't really know how to do that, or how to even check. I do know that now with version 3, when you inspect these things. Apparently, there's something called design tokens in there, um, and in here, and that does. I think that is the design token. Yeah, they calculate the variable, um, and yeah. So I think these are the version 3 design tokens. I think this is the way this looks in version 3. So I guess I'm good. I did notice that in Angular Material now they don't have the same, like they had like this. I signed up for like the indigo theme, and that theme doesn't exist anymore. Now they have, well, it looked to be like, I liked those old themes. They were really cool, but they weren't particularly professional. And the new ones are very, very professional. So yeah, I don't know if I can, what I can do to change my theme so that it can be one of the modern version 3 themes. But anyways, that's all beside the point. But that's really, honestly, if you want to keep an Angular application up to date, that's the stuff you have to think of. Not just whether you whether you've gotten your packages and your libraries all up to date, but whether you're also sort of staying in tune with the new sort of mental reality that the Angular team is moving down. It's not just the language. Like when you're typing, like if you looked at like 1990s JavaScript and you looked at like the way you would interact with an array, it's so dramatically different than the way with the same language you interact with an array today, because we've added all these new things. So it's not the same, even though it's the same language. It's not the same today, and you have to stay up, not just like technically, but you also have to stay up like with the culture of the language change. But anyways, so that's enough of that. Let me see. So the first thing I need to do, I think what I've been doing is, last time what I did was I just changed this and broke it all. So we're going to say bye-bye to the animation, and we'll say that. And I'm going to call it beveled enabled, and it doesn't exist yet. So this saved us a step last time, and it will break it. And then, so it's just telling us, hey, what you did is wrong. So now let's come over here, and we'll add our beveled enabled right there. So that breakage wasn't, I don't know what they could have done, but that wasn't too useful. But this one is super useful. So now it's going to break, but it's going to tell us, hey, this is what's broken. So now we can just hold the control button down and click on that, and click on the error, and it'll take us to where the problem is. And I'm going to say bevel enabled : true. So now we have our, comma, not semicolon. So now we have beveled enabled, and it's gone where we've reset. So now nothing is broken. We create our mesh item, we set the beveled enabled to true, and that's done. But we cannot do anything with it. If we look in at our mesh and we look in here, we see that there is no beveled enabled. So what I do next is, since it's just a one and done change, we'll just go ahead and copy our control for the checkbox. So this is one right here. So this, okay, so if you have an application and it's Angular and you've included material, but you don't have any checkboxes, you're not using any checkboxes, this won't work for you, because you have to import those things. I'll go over that here in a second. But so basically my very first bevel thing, or my very first, so I have a case statement. Yeah, if it's a text geometry, then we show height and width. So I'm going to make this my very first thing push the wrong button, in here, and I'm going to call this beveled enabled, which does not exist yet. So this, if you click into this form, it'll be broken, and I'll just call this bevel enabled. And I feel like that doesn't really need a good explanation. Okay, so now add the mesh, edit the form, look in here, it'll be broken in the control, in the context. Let's see, cube shape. Oh, we need to make it a text. And we have our bevel enabled there. Now this is broken. If we look in the console, you'll see an error because the bevel enable control form name doesn't exist. So we know that because I've done like the last 6 of them, and that's exactly what happened last time. And so now we can come in here and we can do a search on. I want to put it before curved segments everywhere, so do a search on curved segments. So this, we go into zombie land, right? Like you're just like, okay, this is how this works. Mesh item bevel enabled is equal to form dot value dot bevel enabled. Now, if you want to kind of keep yourself mentally fit, you can think through yourself, okay, this is where we set up our subscriptions. And basically, anytime there's any kind of form value change, we're going to update the beveled enabled in the form value. And then it might even make sense to think to yourself, oh, the form doesn't even have a bevel enabled form group or form item yet. So this won't even work anyways. And then you look for the next one. If I remember correctly, we have to change this in 3 places. And here's the second one. This is where we create our form in our form group, and this is where we're going to create our bevel enable control. So bevel enabled, and a lot of times I'll mess this up. I'll change. Sometimes I'll say bevel enable and then enabled and all that. So it's always good when you do your last kind of search, when you're kind of searching through like this and you've fixed everything, to just sort of keep in your mind, all right, what did I name it consistently everywhere? It's sort of one of those things that it's just easy to kind of get totally hyper focused on something and then you do it differently. So this is good, and then this is our last place, and this is our patch value. This is when it gets updated, and bevel enabled mesh item bevel enabled, and that has done it. So I just want to double check as I go through that I called it the same thing: bevel enabled, bevel enabled, bevel enabled, and bevel enabled, beveled enabled. So it's the same everywhere. So that's good. It's kind of like one of these things where it takes you 2 seconds to look through, but if you got it wrong, it could take you 5 minutes to figure it out later. So if you do that every time, you probably come out ahead in the long run. So it should all work. I think it should all work. We updated it everywhere. So let's see. We're going to convert this into a cube or to a text, and then we'll turn it to a normal, and then we'll sort of get in close so that we can see it with the camera. So I think all we need to do is sort of get into like see, like let me just get in here on the Y and look first. Okay, so we're kind of it's very thick. The height it annoys me so much that that's called height. The height is too big, so we want to change that to 0.1. And then let's just change it so that it's easy to see. 0.4, 0.7. All right, so now we're looking, these are the bevels, and they're a little easier to see if we change the bevel segments to 1. All right, so theoretically now if I turn bevel enabled off, yep, beveling is off, beveling is on, off, on, off. So that's pretty cool. And that was pretty easy, and we're 15 minutes in, and I guess that's it. So I guess the only thing that I will do next is let's go back to our Three.js. Oh no, there's one other thing. So in here, this is something I've been forgetting now, is I need to make it so basically this will typically work like as long as you change something else, but if beveled enabled was the only thing you changed, this code won't catch it. So let's just add an or here and say if beveled enabled is not equal to mesh item. And the reason it was erroring out there is because we were trying to compare a boolean to a number. And that solves that issue. Anyways, everybody, thanks for everything. Everybody who watches, I really appreciate it. And happy coding, guys. Bye.